I'm sitting outside of this building for an interview. Mind you, I just left a job that I'm not too crazy about. But usually I would be like nervous and like worked up and like, trying to think of answers. I'm just
The video I'm about to go over is a little bit of a different video because I'm going to be talking about a subject matter to which everybody can relate. This video has to do with a female who was going into a job interview, and I think when she came out, she was in her car and she was just sitting and discussing how she felt about things. And I want to talk about something. This is a very important subject matter that everyone has probably thought about in their life, but it's so much more relevant at this moment in time because of what's happening with the economy. So I'm going to go over this video and then I'm going to give an additional commentary on it. So I want you all to stay with me because this is a very short video. So the commentary is important because I'm going to discuss some things about which a lot of you all have probably been thinking, and I'm going to let you all know what's actually going on. So let's go over this.
I'm sitting outside of this building for an interview. Mind you, I just left a job that I'm not too crazy about.
Okay, so to be corrected for what I said earlier, it wasn't that she just came out of an interview. She is actually about to go into an interview. And she said she just came from a job about which she's not really crazy. And now she's cute, but you can see the look on her face. I need you all to look at how her face looks when she's talking about this stuff. Pay attention.
But usually I would be like nervous and like worked up and like, trying to think of answers. I'm just
Look at her. Look at her. She's looking into the depths of the abyss. She's just like, what does she say? She said, usually I'd be, all trying to, tighten up and trying to figure out answers that I might be able to give for questions they might ask in the whole nine. And then she said, but now I'm just kind of like, and she took a long pause. So that tells you, look, she's just looking off like, it seems like she doesn't even give a crap.
I don't even care. Like, it is what it is. If y'all gonna hire me, cool. If y'all not gonna hire me, cool.
Man, hear what she just said? If y'all gonna hire me, cool. If y'all not, cool. A person who's gotten to this point of non-caring, because listen to what she just said about her previous job. She said, I just came from a job I don't even give a crap about. Then she said, and if y'all are gonna hire me or not, it doesn't even matter. Cool. If you hire me, cool. If you don't, cool. She just, this is one of those fed up people. You can see it. I'm going to explain some things after this video.
But I know either way, it's not gonna be enough. So,
Mm,
it is what it is.
okay. Her last thing that she said was, it is what it is. She said it's not, anywhere is not going to be enough. And this is about what I wanted to talk. Her whole video was encompassed in this one set of phrasing. I don't care about the job I'm at. I'm trying to get another job, but I don't care if you hire me. It doesn't matter because even if you do, you're not going to be paying me enough. It's not going to be enough, seemingly, for what it is that I have to pay. I need you all to understand what is happening in this country. This is a commentary I'm about to do, and I need you all to stay with me. What's happening in this country is that the greed of corporations has finally come to a head. It has finally come to a head. What people don't know is that capitalism itself is a failed system. Stay with me. Capitalism itself fails every 7 to 10 years. It has failed everywhere it's gone for over 300 years. And I know people are like, what do you mean that capitalism fails? What capitalism is it's a system where you have a table. And I came up with this idea, this analogy. You have a table. The legs of the table are the working class. On top of the table are the rich. And what they do is they reach down and they scrape pieces of the legs off to put it on top of the table. But what they don't realize is that every time they do that, the table gets heavier, but the legs itself get weaker. And then eventually what happens? Every 7 to 10 years, the economy crashes. Why? Because the legs, the working class, you all, aren't strong enough to hold the economy up. And then what happens? The working class, the people of the country, bail all the corporations out and they reinflate the bubble, i.e., they rebuild the table. And then what happens? When they rebuild the table, the people who are at the top never have to pay restitution for all the things that they stole from the people who were the legs of the table. And then they just do it again. So what happened is, in I think 88, 89, it was the savings and loans crisis on which they tried to put the actual onus, but it wasn't. It was capitalism. Then in 1999, 2000, dot-com bubble. It wasn't. It was capitalism. 2008, subprime mortgage crisis. It wasn't. It was capitalism. 2020, the COVID crisis. It wasn't. It was capitalism. And what's happening now? They'll rob the government via corporations, because the government isn't the problem. I need people to get this out of their head. The government is the only entity you have that can fight against corporations. Since corporations knew this, what did they do? In 1971, 72, the Powell memo that talked about we need to put corporate things that we want into the government, and then Nixon made Powell a Supreme Court justice. And then next thing you know, you have the Buckley v. Vallejo situation where they, in essence, made politics able to be a place where you can bribe people. And from then on, corporations started infiltrating the government. Now they're fully in the government and they're breaking all type of clauses. The president is breaking the emoluments clause of the Constitution. They're just selling everything. They've stolen everything from the working class. The first thing that they took was your job. They took your job when they ended up cutting taxes from 70% to 28%. That's like cutting the government's income from 70,000 to 28,000. What do you think is going to happen? And then when they did that, they outsourced jobs because they now had computers back in the 70s and early 80s. And when Reagan cut taxes, now you don't make enough money to be able to pay for things because now the government has to print more money because they're not getting enough revenue. The more money they print, what happened to your actual currency? Your currency got devalued. That's why now $50 that used to buy 2 baskets of groceries now only buy 10, 12 items. So they robbed you of that, forced you to put 2 people into the workforce because now you can't afford to pay for stuff with 1 income. Now 2 people in the workforce destroys the families. Then they took your savings. Then they took your house in 2008. Then they took the little money that you had left from your checking. Now they took your money via the credit cards. Now there's nothing left. So they're no longer trying to rob you. They're now robbing the government, which is you, but now they're just going straight to the government because they know you don't have anything anymore. You don't have any leverage. You have nothing. This is why when you go to these jobs, they don't give a crap because they're not making their money off of you anymore. They're making their money from government subsidies. A ton of these companies, their profits come from the subsidies that they get from the government, not from people actually paying for their products and services. This is why they don't care about hiring you. And now with AI, oh man, half the jobs are about to be gone. It's bad out here. But you know who still thrives? People who make content where they get their money, their revenue from corporations. People on YouTube. Why? Because who are paying for the ads? It's corporations, but they have the money because they robbed you. People need to understand how this works. And this is why this young lady is in ultimate despair, because she knows minimum wage has been $7.25 for freaking 20, 30 years. They're not raising it because they don't care whether or not you can afford things, because if you can afford things, it benefits them. Why? Because they're not making their money off of you anyway. These corporations are no longer American corporations. They are now multinational corporations, which means if America falls, they won't. This is why they don't care. So although we know that females are not getting married, which they need to do in order to partner up to try to survive, Understand that these corporations, it doesn't matter what it is that you do. Their job is to rob you any way they can, and they're now doing it through the government. So the working class people are pretty much effed.
I'm sitting outside of this building for an interview. Mind you, I just left a job that I'm not too crazy about. But usually I would be like nervous and like worked up and like, trying to think of answers. I don't even care. Like, it is what it is. If y'all gonna hire me, cool. If y'all not gonna hire me, cool. But I know either way, it's not gonna be enough. So, it is what it is.
That nigga got a point.
Grab yourself some merch on the way out in order to support the channel. And, of course, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thanks, good man fam.